Hey guys, Tony and I just got back from Sci-Fi Genre where we picked up Neuroshima Hex. This is the game we're about to play right now. The game itself, there's a original plus 2 expansions. One of the expansions actually acts as a standalone game as well. They didn't have the original at Sci-Fi Genre, so we bought the 2 expansion packs. We're going to be playing one of them right here. Each one of these boxes is about $40. Incredibly great strategy game, but for those of you who already have an iPod Touch or an iPad, Neuroshima Hex, I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of bright out here, but exists as a download off the iTunes store. Now what you're getting with this is not the 2 expansions, it's just the original game, but it comes with 4 armies that you can choose from, and it's dirt cheap. It's like $2. I ended up getting this right before I went on a business trip, and yeah, I played it about 17 times on the flight. It was a good time. Okay, so what's the main concept behind Neuroshima Hex? This is a strategy board where all the tiles are basically hexes. Both armies, or if you play multiple, you can actually do this 3-4 way or in teams. There's one tile that represents your base and it starts with 20 life, which is around the edge of the board. You kind of use that to mark it down. And other faction model or other pieces, such as this one, kind of shows that there are 2 attacks in this direction and it attacks on initiative 1. So you start with the highest initiative, you go down to the lowest initiative, and each thing has only 1 health point unless it has a marker like this, which introduces the notion that this model, which attacks in every direction except for 1, has an additional life point. So the way to win is to be the one at the end of the game with your base having the most life. When you run out of chips, the game ends the turn after. So we were talking about the differences between the board game and the iPad version. What's nice about the board game is that you actually have a quick reference on what each of your hexagonal chips do, and on the back a quick summary for new players on basic strategies for this particular army. It's one of the bad things about the iPad version, although it's much cheaper. Effectively, if there's a chip that pops up that you can place on the board, you literally have to exit the game in order to get to the section where it explains what those chips do. So the quick reference on the board game, huge, nice touch. The game for the iPad was originally developed for the iPod Touch, so they didn't make the assumption that you were going to have area to have like a drop down with places for you to read what each chip did. Had it been built originally for the iPad, that probably would have been in there. Overall, like I said, once you've played this game a couple times and you're familiar with the armies that the software comes with, definitely the starting price of around $2 to $3 is, if you already have the $500 piece of equipment or whatever to run it on, becomes an easy sale. But like I said, thus far the rights to only the original core rule set have been granted to the software developers to make. So these 2 that we purchased today, you can't play those armies on this game.
You can't play it on the computer?
No.
Oh, okay. That's unique.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and watch the first couple rounds here. Because neither of us have played these armies, we're just going to put the armies where they are.
Okay.
Do you want to go first or second?
You can go first.
Okay. So the first person that goes can only select. There's a whole ton of chips in here. So you just select 1 chip, and that's all you get for that turn. And I got a battle token, which is effectively useless because there's nothing to attack. A battle token is used when you want to force a fight sequence to occur. The other time that it occurs is if the board completely fills up with hexagonal chips. So I'm just going to throw this one away, discard it. Player 2 gets to go now, which is Tony. He gets to draw 2 chips and use them both if he chooses. These are the 2 chips that Tony has. Now, based on what army you get, sometimes you want to use them to protect the base that you have. or put them so that they are guaranteed to get hits and knock down the opponent's life on their base.
So do I put them anywhere?
You can put them anywhere and in any direction.
So what's their directional facing?
So in other words, this guy would only fight in this way, or that way.
One of these three directions?
Yeah, so right now you'd only be fighting your own base potentially.
Okay.
If you notice the white shield there, if I have a shooting unit, right now these are all close combat. Let me see if I can pull a shooting unit. The arrows look different for shooting units.
It says shooter on the chip.
So this is a shooting unit. Basically, if this was opposition of Tony, the shield per initiative, this white band right here, let me see if I can get to this white band right there, protects the first shot. So this chip would have to have 2 shots in order to affect that model at all.
Oh, that white band on the top of the chip?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now in close combat, that shield doesn't mean anything. It's a
Okay.
void shield. It's got to be, the units have to be away from it so far.
Okay.
So put this guy back so you can pull him.
So I will put that person here.
Now, these are all close combat, so you can only affect things directly next to you.
Okay. So I'm assuming the same thing with this cop.
And this little icon means something.
That means pushback.
So in other words, if I put something here, you can during your next turn, even though you didn't pull this guy, you can force a unit to go back.
Oh, okay.
Away from you.
Okay. And the cop, we can put stuff in these squares?
Yes, but again, you might want to take a look at the back of your card for tactical advice before placing your chips. We'll put this on pause for a minute.